So you're moving to Howard County and you have a $600,000 budget. You're looking for great school systems and really cool communities. We think Ellicott City is a great choice for this price point. I'm here with Mark and Nick. Hey, guys.
How you doing?
Hey, Ron.
So, Mark, you grew up in Ellicott City and you came back and raised your family. Why do you love it so much?
It's a great community. The school systems are phenomenal. The price point when I moved back was the appropriate place for me to start a family and buy my first home.
Yeah, Nick, you spent a lot of time in Ellicott City, don't you?
Yeah, I grew up right up the road in Sykesville, so not too far. I spent a lot of time growing up going to Honey Pig and H Mart, and have a lot of friends who lived in the area through like youth sports. And I used to work in politics in Howard County before I got into real estate, so I became very familiar with all of the communities and all the great things that Ellicott City has to offer.
Yeah, we love historic Ellicott City. We go to this Harry Potter festival. My wife makes us dress up, and our son loves Harry Potter, and he's only 3 years old. But what a great time, and I look forward to it, even though I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan, but I've starting to. But when I think of downtown, the really cool thing about Ellicott City, when they do this festival, is all the different restaurants that have reopened after the floods, over what years were the floods?
2016 and 18.
Yep. Right. And it's so that area is completely recovered. And what people have to realize, it's not where these housing communities are. It's a very unique way that water would flow down.
The old Ellicott City itself was a mill town that was based on the river and grew away from the river up the hills. And the communities that are now residential communities are all 3, 4, 5 miles away from the historic Ellicott City.
Right. And my whole point was it has seemed to mostly, like if not all, recovered. And it's just a really good time. It reminds me of like downtown Annapolis or even Frederick.
It's a beautiful place to go spend a Saturday afternoon.
It really is.
Oh, yeah. And that festival, you just go in one shop. There's so many like great toy stores and little bookstores and just really cute little cafes. I agree. I wish I went there more. So let's jump right into data, right? Mm-hmm. So Ellicott City is operating, or not operating, is like it is actually the poster child of low inventory and really propped up prices, wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm. Totally.
So when you look at, so we're talking year over year data for the month of June, right? And so if you look at active listings, if you look at pending listings, if you look at sales, we're down in those categories anywhere from 10 to 30%, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we're seeing, the same issues realistically everywhere. It's this really, really low inventory. But the thing that kind of bucks the trend with Ellicott City is that the demand is still there. And as you can see, especially with pricing, it's been propping the pricing up pretty significantly. So, right now we're looking at, an average list price at like 104%. So like whatever you're listing your house at, despite everything that's going on, you're still going to have to pay a premium for a property in Ellicott City. Yeah,
so sales prices are at 104% of the original list price. The other interesting thing is with the 5-year data. So in the month of June, for the 5-year average is 14 days on market. We're at 7, which is half of normal. It's which means as a buyer, you got to really be prepared. You got to be
better be ready to make an offer when you find the house in the community you want.
Right, and you got to be able to write an offer with terms that you can live with. But it's a challenging time right now. Most of these houses that are coming on the market are getting multi offers, even in late summer, right?
Yes. Even with the rates being where they are, I think we're seeing some people just maybe slide down the scale of what they would have purchased, but are the communities are still selling like crazy. So you might have somebody that would have been looking at an $800,000 house now taking a $600,000 because of the rate, but it hasn't slowed down the market at all.
It's really challenging. Not only is it competitive, but you're looking at houses that don't have all the amenities that you were looking at like maybe a year or two ago because of the interest rates and the less buying power. So the 5-year average in the month of June for active listings is 145. We're at like 109 right now. So we're talking year over year. 5-year average, we're down a good bit. So a lot of communities we're seeing inventory loosening up a little bit in late summer, but it's just not happening in Ellicott City. It's the school systems, the communities. It's really driving people to want to be there, right?
Right.
Now, one of the things we talked about, like you've been in Ellicott City for many, many years. And then so you have like you have this long-term memory of what like a new townhome should cost. And let's say that if that was 500, it's like 700 now, right? Like so, or whatever, everything's adjusted upward quickly in like a 3 or 4 year span to where you have to like reset what you remember certain types of housing at certain price points, right?
I mean, Ellicott City is probably a 10 plus square mile radius area, and to know all those communities and know what they were going for when I was house hunting myself, and now being in the business where I'm trying to sell those houses, it's shocking.
But I'm just talking about like in the last 3, 4, 5 years.
Yes.
Like if you haven't, like if you're thinking, okay, I can get this in Ellicott City, but I only really looked at it. Maybe you bought a house like 5 years ago in Ellicott City, and now you're getting ready to sell. You're really happy because you're like, oh wow, that value went up. As a buy on the buying side, though, if you're going to buy in Ellicott City, you're like, oh wow, like everything's went up plus the high interest rates. It just makes it really a really challenging time.
It's a very big retention community too, where that happens a lot. You have townhouse sellers that are looking to buy a single family and stay in Ellicott City.
Yeah.
So they experience something. They're happy on the sales side. They're not happy on the purchase side.
Right. So let's jump into the different types of real estate you can find in Ellicott City. And what's entry level? What to get into Ellicott City? What type of housing and what price point are we talking?
I mean, on the very low end, you have smaller 2-bedroom, 1-bath condos. You could probably, as we've seen from the data of recent sales, you can get in like the mid to upper 200s.
I think that's slowly creeping up, but I think we're the active one that's on a two-bedroom condo right now is about $275.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Village of Montgomery, Dorsey Hall, I think is another community.
Woodland Village.
That has, and it's really competitive. I mean, even for those 2-bath or 1-bath condos. And they're mature communities too. They're not brand new. And then, so the next step up, once you get into the 300 to 500 range, what type of housing are we looking at, and what are some of the communities you might want to look?
Again, Woodland Village is a nice, mature townhouse and condo community. Mm-hmm. It's won a ton of awards for landscaping, has a ton of amenities, but it's probably in the 450 to 500 range to get a townhouse.
Yeah, but if you're thinking just pure numbers sake in terms of what kind of options it opens up from that $300,000 budget, what you're still seeing is some newer condo developments. Some of the more
Turf
mature
Valley has some new development going on.
Yeah, there've been a lot of. Every time I go out and play there's always new houses popping up out there. Those are on the higher ends. You have like Ellicott Hills, which was like early mid 2000s, and then even going further back, there are definitely some more communities that in the mid threes. So from 3 to 500, which is a big range at 200,000. There's a wide swath of options. You just have to depend on what you want, whether it's a condo or a townhome.
That's a small family. You might just had a kid.
Newlyweds.
Now let's talk about like 500 to 900. You have maybe 2 kids, bigger family, or just need a bigger house. What are you getting in that price range? You're probably getting a nice townhome or a smaller single family.
Certainly in that range, you'll get a very nice townhouse, because there's a lot of new build communities going on that are pushing into the mid 700s for townhomes, but there's still mature neighborhoods. When I say mature, you could have 1960s build ranchers that are great finds in some of the more mature communities, as well as established neighborhoods that are 1990s, early 2000s built, that they'll have nice colonials for you.
Yeah, Autumn View is a community that's I think that's 2003, so newish. That has seen a lot of traffic in the last year. So let's talk about top of market, Ellicott City. What are you getting? I imagine you're getting a good lot, a big 4,000 square foot house. But what are we getting?
You're in the 7 figures at that point. I mean, you have these newer houses for sure, but you also have these late 90s communities like the Preserve, which are these big 4,000 square foot plus houses that are going for like 1.5 million. And then we're seeing at the top of market right now for newer builds with, with all the amenities, still kind of the same square footage, 4,000 plus, reaching 2 million plus.
Yeah, the Preserves was built in the 90s, and then Westmount is a newer community that's recently built up in the 200s. I think maybe you might even dip into the 3s. All right, so let's talk about what you can get for $600,000 in Ellicott City. What What do you see, Mark?
Again, a mature community townhome or smaller single family.
Yeah.
So we talking when you say mature, like back in the 90s?
Single family, I would push back further than that. 90s for the townhomes, yes.
Yeah. For the single families, you're probably talking 60s, because you're like as soon as you think of like 600,000, my gut goes to like areas around like Centennial Manor.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
like 1960 split like ranchers, 3-bed, 2.5 baths, going for like 600.
That's awesome. So Mark, Nick, myself, we're real estate agents with the Greatest Moves teams. We have offices all over the state. Mark works out of our Columbia office. Nick and I both work out of Fells Point. We know the area really well. So save this video. In this link, we're going to have a link to dynamic data of the last 3 years of all the different data points that we're talking about. So you can go back, whether you're buying or selling, and seeing what the market's doing at that point. You can also give us a call if you want the latest, greatest data. But also in this video description, we're going to have links to our buying center, our selling center. We would love to help you buy or sell in Ellicott City. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like this video, and we'll see you next episode. Take care.